Hi, this is Michael Williams. I'm here today with Janik from Germany. Thank you so much, Janik, for being willing to talk with us today. And this is your last day of coaching. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. That is 100% correct, Michael. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to actually talk about this today.
Thank you. So now here's a question that I know I've asked you before, but how many languages do you speak? Of course, I know you speak at least two, but you might speak more.
Yes, so my mother tongue is actually German,
Mhm.
and I speak English, as you can tell right now. I studied in the US, and I also speak French because I studied in France too, and I also use those languages while I'm working.
Wow. So you use all three. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
good. So, Yannick, tell us about pre-Pro 90D before the self-study, before the coaching. What was what was your speech like? What was life like for you?
Yes. So pre-Pro 90 days, especially in higher pressure situations, and also sometimes I would get very, very nervous. For I want to say 50% of the time, my speech has been very, very fluent. But then for the other 50%, I struggled a lot. I would get super, super nervous, especially in higher pressure situations like in meetings, like in presentations, and yeah, I felt like I don't really have control in those kind of situations.
Mm.
And before I joined the self-study, I did a traineeship at the European Commission where I had to talk a lot, and where in a lot of speaking situations I had the feeling that I would not say everything that I wanted to say, because I was afraid that I would not be able to actually say those kind of things, to actually not have the words to to actually articulate my thoughts. And this is why I felt like it is time to do something about my speech right now, because I went to speech therapy 2 or even 3 times, and it worked a little bit, but especially, like I said, in those high pressure situations, it did not give me everything. And so as soon as I finished that traineeship, I went on the internet, and then I found a lot of videos of you on YouTube. And this is when I decided to actually enroll in the self-study.
So, how did the self-study help you, and then why did you decide to do the coaching?
Yeah, so the self-study helped me already a lot. But I think the self-study helped me especially in the way that I changed my speaking style. Because pre-Pro 90 days, I used to speak very, very fast. And sometimes, and even right now, I still feel like that I speak a little fast. But with help of the self-study, and especially with help of the modeling, I was able to change my speaking style. I was especially able to slow my speech down, and it was very, very helpful in most situations. But then in those high pressure situations, I still sometimes felt that I don't have as much control in my speech as I want to have. And this is why I decided to do the coaching, to make it first of all a little bit more personal, and then in the self study, the second very, very big part is changing my speaking identity. And I felt like that this is easier to do in the coaching, and this is why I decided to join the coaching after around 6 or 8 weeks having done the self study.
So, let's talk about one of the benefits, like I mentioned to you earlier, all the information about modeling is in the self-study, right? So, can you articulate to us briefly what are the benefits? Because they both have benefits, obviously. So, what are some of the benefits that you found personally from the coaching that were different than the benefits that you experience in the self-study?
Yeah. So First of all, with regard to my speaking style, um, so I was able before to pay a specific focus on specific speaking skills. I think I first paid attention to extending my words, then to word inflections and so on.
Hmm.
But what the coaching did was I could actually talk with you, and more importantly, you could hear me talking, and you could tell. I think even after 5 minutes, you were able to actually tell me that I should specifically focus on this skill in the first week, and then we met again 2 weeks later, and then you were again able to actually tell me which skill I should focus on, and by doing that, by making it more personal, I was able to improve much faster than I would have done only with the self-study. And the second thing I already mentioned is you mentioned to me a lot of times how important it is to actually change my speaking identity too. And before I improved a lot, I slowed down. So for most of the situations, it was fine. But then in higher pressure situations, I here and there still would get stuck. And as I didn't change my speaking identity at that time, I felt like in those situations it does not work. But by changing my speaking identity, and I think I did that especially with help of the coaching, even if I would get stuck here and there, which is very, very normal for, I mean, everyone gets stuck. And by doing that, I think this was the last percent that I was still missing. And I'm not sure if I would have done that without the coaching. Maybe yes, but now I was able to do it in 3 months, and I think the coaching first made it more personal for me, and second of all, it made my progress a lot faster, and this is why I think it was a very, very good decision that I took there.
Hmm. Hmm. And so, two or three other questions for you. One, has this translated over into your other languages? Because many of my clients are multilingual from all around the world. And so they're wondering, well, I don't speak English a lot. I speak these languages, or I speak this language, or I speak all of these languages. So how will this translate to my other languages? So what's been your experience there?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, because one of the first questions that I ask myself is when it comes to modeling, is it better to model someone else in German and in French? And what I've seen after several weeks, that I don't think it is really necessary, because the skills, if you do them in the other languages too, and if you use the same speaking style, which in my point of view is also possible in other languages, yes, I think I can say that it works in all of the three languages. And I experienced my first real progress, I think, even in German, even though we only talked in English, of course, and I did all the modeling in English. But then now I can see some huge improvements also in English, in German, and in French. So, in my point of view, it works in every single language that you speak.
Got it. Got it. Because for some of my clients who may be struggling to change their style and their speaking identity in their other languages, we would have them actually begin to translate the modeling practice into their language. And often that works. Only as a last resort do we say, okay, you probably need to find a model in that language. That we rarely need to do that, but sometimes we do. So thanks for sharing that with us. Now, let's talk about some of your most recent successes. You've had a couple of things happen recently, so share with us what they were and how you did and how you felt about it.
Yes, so I think I want to talk about two recent successes that I had, especially. The first one was that I did a preaching in front of a very big group it was between 60 and 70 people. And I think I can 100%, I'm 100% sure that Pro 90 days, I would have never gotten on that stage and actually talked in front of that large group. So, I mean, even before I actually told myself, it's not important what happens here. It's already a success that I'm standing in front of all of these people here. But then I was not as nervous as I thought I would be. I mean, of course, I was feeling a little bit nervous, but I learned all of those tools to actually relax myself down before, but also in the moment. And I started off very, very slowly. And I think I did very, very well throughout. I think I talked for around 15 minutes. And a lot of people came to me afterwards and they said, man, there was an amazing speech. It was very, very moving. It was very, very inspiring in a sense. And yeah, I mean, that almost made me cry, because before Pro 90 days, I would have not seen that. I could have never imagined that I would stand in front of such a large group and yeah, talk very, very smoothly. And I actually talked about how I struggled with my speech for a long time, and how it's such a huge success for me to stand here right now. And so there was definitely a very, very big speaking success for me. And I also had a job interview very, very recently, though I don't know yet if I'm going to get the job. I was very, very pleased because in job interviews before, I would still get very nervous and I would not be able to articulate my thoughts as well. But now I was very happy. I'm not saying that I did not get stuck at all. It happened maybe 2 or 3 times, but I was able to handle it. I was feeling calm almost throughout the entire job interview, and yeah, I was just happy that that I could say what I wanted to say, and so those 2 things, yeah, I'm just super, super grateful that I was able to experience those 2 successes.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So, yeah, the thing is that what I'd like for people to, or at least one of the things I'd like for people to get from this is there's stuff that you want to do with your life, right? Stuff that you really want to do, stuff that you'd like to do, things that you're even called to do. And if your speech is standing in the way, some people feel like, as you said, I don't have any control. This is something that's involuntary. I can't control it. It's a disability. That is actually not completely true, because you and thousands of other people are testimonies to the fact that you might not be able to control it right now while you're watching this, but it is not something that you can't control and overcome, where you don't have to control it. You'll just be speaking smoothly, saying what you want to say. And you'll be able to do the stuff in life that you want to do, and even do it better than you could before, even better than if you hadn't stuttered. Because now you're moving from a person who just maybe used to stutter, not stuttering, to actually becoming an excellent speaker, where people said, wow, that was really good. Not just, wow, you didn't stutter. They
Yeah,
said, wow, wow, that was actually good. So for people who are considering either the self-study or the coaching, and they have the normal questions that we would all have. First of all, does this really work? Will it work for me? You know, my own personal situation. Will I actually do the work? You know, we can't answer that, but will I actually do the work? And how long does it take? Like, people wonder, how long will this take me? So maybe you can just, you know, in your own way, does it really work? Will it work for them? You know, what do you think? And then how long does it take?
yeah, sure. Um, so for me, I mean, I can only talk about my personal experience, but for
Mhm.
me, I can say that it absolutely works, especially in the sense that now for at least 99% of the time, I'm happy to speak. I mean, before there were always situations that I would probably not get into because I would be afraid if I would be able to say the things that I want to say.
Mm.
And I mean, if you look for something um, that works very fast, and where it's only about that you're never ever going to get stuck again, then this might not work for you. But if you're looking for something that can change your life in the long term, that helps you to have the confidence to say the things that you want to say, then I can say absolutely. And I want to invite you really to either do the self-study or I want to say do the coaching too. For me, I think it was even very helpful to do the self-study first because it teaches you a lot, especially with regards to your speaking style, but also with regard to changing your speaking identity. And it helped me so much. It gave me so much, and I definitely want to invite you so much to do this step. And with regard to your last questions, how long does it take? I think this is very, very hard to tell because I mean, I could see improvements, I want to say, after 2 or 3 weeks into the self-study. But I can see improvements now. I can basically see improvements every single day. And so it's very, very difficult to like just say it's going to take 3 months and then you're done and you're perfect. It doesn't work like that, but you see improvements every single day. And until I saw like very, very big improvements, I want to say it took me maybe 2 months. But again, it did not stop there. It gets better every single day. And I just want to invite you all to do it. It's going to change your life.
I talk to people. I just talked to a guy this morning, Tony. You may have seen some of his videos before. And it's been, well, the last time I talked to him, I think he said was the fall of last year. And his speech is doing extremely well, and he's just going to keep getting better. So I talk to people sometimes 6 months later, a year later, and their speech has gotten better than it was when we stopped. So this is not something where you do it a few months and you're done. This really isn't about the stuttering part so much as it is about becoming a better speaker, an excellent speaker, which is a lifelong journey. I'm still working on it, but you'll get to a place in a relatively 3 months is a short period of time if you think about it. If you've been struggling for decades, 3 months is nothing to go from stuttering, severe or not, to becoming a pretty good speaker in 3 months. That's really, really a fast period. But just as you said, it's a journey and you just keep improving all the time. The more you get out and use it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Janik. I really appreciate you taking the time. We are going to come back. You and I are going to do another interview maybe several months from now to see where you're at and what you're doing. But thanks for all of your insight and the way that you articulated everything. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you.
Okay.